It's Bank Holiday Monday. It's on the warm side outside, but nothing, I repeat, nothing will stop the relentless march of the unofficial British artists' top 20. Hello, it's Monday the 25th of May 2026 and it's really warm in here because to do this recording I've had to turn the fan off because it's too bloody noisy. Anyway, later on in the show I've got an album review, Things Are Looking Up by Billy Lockett, I've got the news, but first here is the all-important unofficial British artists top 20. This week we have one new entry, one re-entry, 6 songs going up, 5 songs going down and 7 non-movers. Brand new at number 20, it's Baby by Prosper and Murder Beats. At number 19, it's down 1 for Calvin Harris and Jazzy with Satisfy. And at number 18, Femi has gone up 1 place with Noble. Harry Styles' Dance No More is up 3 to number 17, and Bebe Rexha and Faithless are down 1 to number 16. Natasha Bedingfield's Unwritten is up 2 to number 15. Fleetwood Mac's Landslide is up 2 to number 14, and we have a non-mover at number 13 for Pink Pantheress with Stateside. We have a re-entry at number 12 for Olivia Dean with Nice to Each Other, and Sienna Spiro is down 1 place at number 11 with The Visitor. Here's your top 10. At number 10, it's Dave and Thames with Rain Dance, down 1 place. At number 9, Harry Styles' Sign of the Times is up 5. At number 8, So Easy to Fall in Love by Olivia Dean is down 1 place. At number 7, Ray is up 1 place with Where Is My Husband. We have a non-mover at number 6 for Sienna Spiro with Material Lover. A non-mover at number 5 for Prosper and Clooney's Free Your Mind. A non-mover at number 4 for Man I Need by Olivia Dean. A non-mover at number 3 for Harry Styles with American Girls. A non-mover at number 2 for Chemical Brothers with Go. And at number 1 again, it's the fantastic Sam Fender and Olivia Dean with Rein Me In. Well, I'm not going to say it again. No, I am going to say it again. It's a boring chart. We seem to be stuck in this loop at the moment of the same 20-ish tracks. Well, probably not 20, but the same sort of 17 tracks constantly here. I mean, I was really pleased a couple of weeks ago when the Chemical Brothers song, which is an 11-year-old song, managed to break the mould and break into the track. But now it's become part of the rot. It's just sitting there at number 2, not moving. There's not really much I can say about this week's chart. I talked quite a lot about last week's, I think, because it did feel a little bit different to the ones that had gone before. The only new track really is the Prosper and Murder Beats track, Baby, and I hope it does okay. But recent experience seems to suggest that these songs that aren't part of this block of tracks will appear at the bottom. They might last a couple of weeks and then they'll disappear again. So the songs that have left the chart this week are as follows. So Charlie XCX's Rock Music, which came in as a new entry at number 11 last week, has already gone. It didn't make despite being very, very well played and playing quite high on the Spotify chart that week for new songs. It hasn't lasted. It's still in the official top 100, obviously, but we shall see. Charlie XCX has another single out this week. So we'll have to see if that performs similarly. The other song that's dropped out is Olivia Dean's Baby Steps, but it's down to the official top 40 and top 100's 3 songs by the one artist rule. So it appears that what's re-entered, Nice to Each Other, has come back into the charts, which has knocked Baby Steps out, and that's the only reason for any change this week. So hopefully at some point we'll have something properly new that breaks in. So let's have a look at British artist penetration into the official chart. Very similar to last week's. The official top 10 has 2 songs in it by British artists, same as last week. The official top 20 has 4 songs by British artists. That's down a song, or 5% on last week. And the top 40 is in a similar place. Last week it had 14 songs by British artists. This week it has 12, so it's 30% and it's down 5. And the bottom actual chart position for a British artist, which is where my number 20 in my chart is number 61 in the official chart, so that's down 3 places on last week, which isn't great. When we started this, it was in the 30s somewhere, back 17 weeks ago, but then it's got as low as 73 before, so it could be worse. In terms of a British artist officially at number 1, I honestly thought that Olivia Dean and Sam Fender were going to get knocked off the top again this week, purely because of the amount of Drake material that was released. So Drake is an American rapper, and he dropped 3 albums simultaneously last week. He is actually the first artist in American history to hold the number 1, 2 and 3 positions on the Billboard, whatever their official album chart is. And I honestly thought that one of his singles would get the top spot in this country, and it didn't. He's got 3 singles in there, and I think they're at numbers 2, 3 and 5. But Sam Fender and Olivia Dean managed to hold on for another week, which is absolutely fantastic. So what that means is, out of the 21 weeks there have been singles charts this year, 17 of those weeks have had a British artist at number 1, and 12 of those 17 weeks have been Sam Fender and Olivia Dean with Rain Me In, which means only 4 out of 21 weeks have had a non-British artist at the official number 1. I suspect that may change next week. We have a new Olivia Rodrigo single out, and they normally do very well. However, the last one got the top spot for a week before being knocked off again by Rain Me In. So we shall see what happens. Anyway, it's now time for the news. It's a bumper crop of news this week, and as usual, we shall start with the Spotify roundup. Sadly, once again, no artists from the British Isles have appeared on the global debut album chart this week, or indeed the global debut song chart, which was 100% dominated by songs from Iceman, which was under the 3 new albums Drake dropped last week. Olivia Dean's The Art of Loving was the sole British entry on the global albums top 10 this week, spending another week at number 6. Sadly, this week she's fallen out of the global songs chart. Man I Need was last week's number 9, but its exit leaves no British representation on that chart. There are still 2 British entries in the global pre-saves chart this week. Dinner Party by Niall Horan is at number 8 with 339,200 pre-saves, which is an increase of 13,100 pre-saves on last week. The album is released on the 5th of June. Also, The Wow Signal by Muse is still at number 10 with 316,200 pre-saves, up 20,800 on last week. This album comes out on the 26th of June. The USA's Olivia Rodrigo reigns supreme at the top of the chart with her album You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So In Love, which has 3.21 million pre-saves, a figure that has grown by 90,000 since this time last week. It is currently the 3rd most pre-saved album in Spotify history. To achieve second place, it will need to have more than 5.01 million pre-saves, which is what BTS achieved for their recent album Airang, although the rate of increase has slowed to the point where it's unlikely it will happen. The Olivia Rodrigo album is released in just under 3 weeks. In other news, the 2026 Ivor Novello Awards, which celebrate songwriting and composing, took place on the 22nd of May. Best Album went to CMAT for Euro Country. Best Contemporary Song went to K Tempest's I Stand on the Line. Best Song musically and lyrically went to Don't Fall Asleep by Scotland's Jacob Allon, who also won the Rising Star Award. PRS for Music Most Performed went to Messy by Lola Young. The Outstanding Song Collection Award went to Lily Allen. Songwriter of the Year was Sam Fender. Visionary Award went to British rapper Kano. The PRS for Music Icon Award went to Calvin Harris, and the Academy Fellowship was jointly awarded to George Michael 10 years after his death and Tom York. Sienna Spiro has announced her debut album titled Visitor. It will feature smash hits Die on This Hill and You Stole the Show, as well as singles Maybe, The Visitor and 9 other songs. It will be released on the 3rd of July. Coldplay's Music of the Spheres live tour has overtaken Taylor Swift's Eras tour and become the highest grossing tour in history, taking more than $1 billion in revenue over 150 shows. New Order have announced that 2 of their previous compilation albums, The Best of New Order and The Rest of New Order, are being re-released on vinyl and CD on the 12th of July. The CD version contains 4 discs and will feature several mixes not previously released on CD. The team behind Harry Styles' current tour will be looking at the way it is staged after several fans complained of restricted views. The Together Together tour is playing a 10-date run in Amsterdam at the moment, but fans standing at certain locations claim that they could hardly see the singer for the majority of the concert. This week's BPI Brit certified releases are the song Lisa by Born Again featuring Doja Cat and Ray is now a silver single, Hozier's Eat Your Young is now a gold single, and Golden by Harry Styles is now a double platinum single. Girls Like, Teeny Temper single that features Zara Larsson, is now a treble platinum single. Ray's new album, This Music May Contain Hope, is now a certified gold album, and the album The Art of Loving by Olivia Dean has turned double platinum. Amy Winehouse's album Frank is now quadruple platinum. Olivia Dean and Sam Fender's Rain Me In has spent 12 non-consecutive weeks at the top of the official British chart. This is now the record for longest running number one for a male-female duo and longest running number one for a female artist. I shall repeat this fact every week, increasing the number each time by one, obviously, until they're knocked off the top of the charts, even though past form suggests they will probably be back there the following week. Ed Sheeran has announced that he has left his record label after 15 years. In that time, he had released 8 albums with Asylum Records, which is a subsidiary of Warner, and in the USA he was released under the Warner International label. The split is reported to be amicable. Sheeran has not yet announced who his new label will be. Last week's British album releases charted in the official album chart as follows: Stardust by Freya Sky entered at number 35, and Cruel Intentions by Karma Effect at number 39. The new albums released by British artists on Friday were Things Are Looking Up by Billy Lockett, Live from Mexico by Dua Lipa, Blue Morpho by Ed O'Brien, Love Bites by Lovecat, Fluorescence by Maisie Peters, Party in My Room by Matt Terry, and Magnificent by Philippa Hanna and Israel Houghton. The deluxe version of Chronicle by Zayn was also released, featuring an extra 3 tracks. And that was the news. Now it's time to have a look at this week's album, and honestly it's a delight to talk about this one because it has a truly remarkable story behind it, and as such I do go on a bit longer than normal. Sorry. So, Billy Lockett is a musician from Northampton who released his second album, Things Are Looking Up, on Friday. Second album, you say? But I've never heard of him. Well, the truth is, until very recently, neither had I. And he is, in terms of where I live, very, very local. So, how have I heard of him now? Well, it's very simple. As part of my overall preparation and research for this podcast, I've started following a lot of musicians and music-related accounts on Instagram. That's where I get certain items for the news part of this show from. So, for example, the Spotify page and the Brits page. So, of course, the Instagram algorithm has noticed a spike in interest in specifically British music and has started funneling new accounts towards me. One I came across a few weeks ago caught my interest in particular. It was the account of a musician, Billy Lockett. I found myself watching a video in which he was sitting in a kitchen with his mother, and she was reading out loud how many tickets had sold for his upcoming tour to promote his new album. And it was not great news. I think from memory there are about 10 dates on the tour, with venues ranging in capacity from 200 to 750. And the trend with all of them was that the sales were not going all that well. The London venue in particular was looking like it was going to be a disaster, with less than 10% of the available 750 tickets sold. Billy's reaction to the bad news was raw and visceral. It was such a change from the usual fake it till you make it bullshit that you usually find on social media. It appeared that I had stumbled across a weekly update about how the sales were going, and so I followed the account. I even favorited it so that it would appear near the top of my feed. A few days later, I came across another update, still in the kitchen. This time Billy's mum was updating him on the progress of pre-orders for his new album, Things Are Looking Up. Only things weren't looking up. Billy has worked out that to have a number one album, he needs to shift 8,000 units combined CDs and vinyl. Using the same method as they had earlier in the week with ticket sales, Mum told him last week's figure, then this week's figure. She was deliberately holding the numbers from him until they shot the video, so his reaction was real and it was horrendous. The screen showed that the previous week they'd sold 158 CDs. Mum took a deep breath and revealed that this week's total was, drumroll, 161. Billy had sold just 3 further CDs in the 4th week of his campaign. Even worse, vinyl sales had gone from 136 to 136. Not one sale. They'd sold 0 vinyl in the 4th week of the campaign. Billy was visibly devastated on the screen. The result? It went viral. Since then, things have indeed been looking up for Billy Lockett. The tour went well, and each week the totals for the CDs and vinyls started to increase at a more satisfying rate. At the most recent update, which was the day before the release, combined CD and vinyl sales had hit almost 1,500. Not enough to get a #1 album, but probably enough to give the record a chance of getting into the official album chart. And things are still improving. The title song from the album, Things Are Looking Up, was put on the BBC Radio 1 and BBC Radio 2 playlists, as well as that of all the BBC Radio local stations. As I write this, the album has spent 2 days at the top of the iTunes album sales chart before dropping to #2 this morning, but that's still pretty impressive when you consider the new live album from Dua Lipa, released on the same day, is sitting at number 30. He's done 2 gigs over the weekend, one at the HMV in his hometown of Northampton and another in one of the London Rough Trade record stores. So as well as 1,500 pre-sales, every iTunes sale counts as a chart unit, as this is an album sales chart on iTunes, not a streaming chart. I myself pre-ordered a dual CD and vinyl set when I saw that first devastating update, and then when I saw him climbing the iTunes chart, I purchased a download as well, something I don't usually do, but I was genuinely keen and still am to support this record. Usually I would give you a brief bio at this point as well, but I'm going to break with tradition here and read you the bio from his own website verbatim because it's both tragic and inspiring. He says, "Hello, I'm Billy Lockett. I'm a piano man. I grew up in a small town in the UK called Northampton with my crazy hippie dad. He encouraged me to have a career in music. After a few years, things started to happen. I was playlisted on Radio 1 and went on tour supporting Birdie, Lana Del Rey and Katie Tunstall. Dad died. I stopped everything and came back home, went off the rails a bit, got a cat, spent the next 2 years in the cellar of my dad's house writing songs, grew an afro accidentally. Moved to probably the smallest room in London, played every open mic night in the city for a year, sold out my first headline show, got signed, cut afro off, spent another 2 years writing, went off the rails again, got help, performed on Made in Chelsea as Josh's baby shower gift to Binky, obviously, toured with Lewis Capaldi and Electric Light Orchestra, put my own tour on sale, sold it out, blew my mind, broke up with my record label, broke up with my girlfriend, well, she dumped me on WhatsApp, broke my heart. Moved back to my dad's old house with Cat, wrote and recorded an EP called Reset, became mates with James Corden, performed live on The Late Late Show, got new managers, wrote, recorded, performed and self-released a modern classical piano-only album. It charted and got played on Classic FM. At the same time, a drum and bass track I sang on was getting played on Radio 1. Made history as the first artist to do that. Put Reflections EP together, loved every song, felt empowered. The songs were written during a darker time, but now I'm feeling really good. This EP is me reflecting on how far I've come and to celebrate where I'm going. Set up a Patreon account, and with the help of some amazing superfans, I recorded my first proper album titled Abington Grove, which I recorded in the basement of my dad's old house on that street. Couldn't be prouder of how it came out. Started releasing the singles from the album in June 2022. Went to the Big Apple, met everyone, got signed to a great US label, started releasing singles, got played on the radio all over the world, hired bodyguards to keep crazy fans from trying to cut locks of my hair off when I'm shopping in Lidl, became best friends with Beyonce, buy a lifetime supply of pot noodles, get asked by Just Eat to feature in the next advert, probably. That's the story so far, and a little bit of what's probably going to happen very soon. Follow me to see what happens next. Obviously, there's a lot more information there than I usually give, and I haven't even started talking about the actual album yet. I was awake at midnight on release day, the first time I've done that since This Music May Contain Hope came out, so I listened. The opening track starts with a background vinyl crackle and then just a piano. Out of the Blue is a soft piano ballad which builds slowly, demonstrating what a great voice Billy has. It's about falling for someone unexpectedly. It's a soft, gentle start to the record, and it's both tender and hopeful. Next up is the title track, Things Are Looking Up, and this is the one that has made it to all of the playlists. The upbeat sound masks a hint of dark times. There are suggestions in the lyrics to a rough chapter where he feels he's let people down, including himself. The main chorus implies that somebody looking down on him from above is helping to inspire him. probably his late father. Things Are Looking Up is about overcoming bad times, and it has an anthemic feel to it. Light Up the Sky is another song about his late father, but more directly. It's sad without being maudlin. Sweet Tooth, which is the final song on side 1, is a nice change of pace. We have a lot of anthemic singer-songwritery tunes up until this point, with the exception of the first track, and as a result this stands out because it sounds a little different. Side 2 has more varied songs on it, so it does not suffer as the first side does with a large block of stylistically similar songs. Just to be clear, this is not a criticism of the individual songs, just the order in which they are presented. There's another terrific song called We Know on side 2, which should have been in the middle of side 1 to break up that block of similar tracks, perhaps even as track 3 after Things Are Looking Up, which absolutely belongs where it is. So, as you've probably guessed, if I'm going to be very, very critical, I think the sequencing of this album is off. There are some very, very strong tracks on here and a variety of styles, but the first side is dominated by songs of a similar style which would have better traction if they'd been split up. Also, there's an absolutely splendid song buried on side 2 called Cut Me Off, which should have been the album opener, and the song he actually used to start the album, which is also terrific, would have been a brilliant way to start side 2. The final track though, Our Funeral, is exactly the right song to end the album with. This is all a minor criticism. You know I have a bee in my bonnet about sequencing. This album is a great piece of work, and I'm so pleased that it appears to have attracted the attention it definitely deserves. Billy and his mum, who has become an Instagram icon in her own right and has co-signed the pre-order albums along with Billy, have worked so hard over recent weeks, and we are now a few days away from finding out to what extent that work has paid off. Usually a midweek chart update is posted both for the official album and official single chart at some point on a Monday, but with it being a bank holiday here in the UK, I'm not sure if that will happen today or if it might be delayed until tomorrow. But I really hope Things Are Looking Up does well. It's unlikely that it will be a number 1 album, but miracles can happen, and I sincerely hope that Billy pulls a rabbit out of that hat and manages a top 10 entry or better. He certainly deserves it. I would absolutely recommend that everybody who's listening to this goes along to billylockett.com and orders either a CD or a vinyl of the album, or even goes to the iTunes store and pays for the album. It's $8.99 and downloads it. All of these this week, basically anything up until close of play on Thursday, will help to determine the chart position of this record. Wouldn't it be fantastic if he got to number 1? You can also stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, all the normal places. Well, that's just about it for me for this week. The final bit of business are my songs of the week. Now, I really want to make my British song of the week Things Are Looking Up by Billy Lockett. I'm not going to, purely for the reason that I think I've done all right promoting Billy in this podcast so far. And also, on Friday, a new single from Lola Young was released. I think everything she's done since Messy has been somewhat in the shadow of Messy until this song. It's called From Down Here. It's all about her overcoming her demons, basically. It's an absolutely terrific song, and it also shows what a powerful and beautiful voice she's got. So my single of the week, and I really hope it does well in the charts next week, is Lola Young's From Down Here. We have a really good song for International Single of the Week as well. It's the new Gracie Adams, Hit the Wall. I hope both of them do well in the official charts next week. The only one that may enter my chart, of course, will be Lola Young's From Down Here. So, let's see how Billy Lockett gets on next week. Let's see how Lola Young gets on next week. You're just going to have to tune into this podcast and find out. Thank you for listening. Take care. Goodbye.